Hey everyone, and welcome to my console speedrun strategy guide, this time for Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Um, I recently got back into this game, well, quote unquote, got back into this game, um, and I uploaded my old world record run for this Definitive Edition, and I saw that a lot of people watched it. Well, for my standards, a lot of people watched it, and so I thought, hey, this would be a great new project for me. Um, so I'm just gonna do it the same way like I did in Fallout 4. Gonna split this into several sections to better keep it up to date and to better focus on questions and to guide you through this run step by step. Um, some general things about this run. Um, I'm not sugarcoating this. This run will drive you mad. Um, there are so many little things that I hated about it. I mean, it's a great game and it's a fun run, but the more often you run it, the more likely you are to notice little things that just piss you off in the end. There are problems with QTEs not triggering, input not being calculated correctly, just a lot of things. So it might take you a while to get a good run in this game. Also another problem is the first half of this run is so much easier than the second half, so you will find yourself having a near perfect time on the first half, quite often, while the second half of your run can completely kill it. So what I would advise you to do is make a save game when you come to Shantytown, and then play through the last part over and over and over and over again. Um, this run tutorial will be specifically for the Definitive Edition, because certain glitches that worked on PC and Xbox 360, PS3 are not working anymore. So, um, I will just I will not tell you how to do things on other consoles. There are other tutorials. For example, on PC you can watch the PC World Record Run, and for Xbox 360 and PS3 there is another tutorial. Um, I'm just mainly gonna focus on the next generation version or current gen version of this game. Um, there are a lot of cool things like door clipping and mechanics you can exploit. Gonna come to that later. I'm gonna point out certain differences between the Xbox One and PS4 versions. For example, the PS4 version runs at 60 FPS while the Xbox One version only runs at 30 FPS. This actually makes a difference in one or two spots in the run, but I will note that at the time. Speaking of time, um, opposed to the other tutorial I did, which was Fallout 4, in this run we're not gonna pause during the loading times. That means we're gonna time the loading times with our run. There is a cutscene in the game, which is it's the helicopter cutscene where you jump into a helicopter and blah blah. Um, you have in this 45 seconds cutscene, you have around 6 spots in this cutscene where the game can crash on you. And I have no idea why it does that. I tried to find it out by making tests and shit, but I couldn't find anything. And this is when your game crashes there. That's basically the only time you're allowed to pause the timer. Um, Depending on how lucky you are, the game will crash every 1 in 3 runs or every second run. So you have a between 33 and 50% chance that the game will crash on you. What other things? Oh yeah, you should use a capture card because of this game crash. Uh, it's always better to just have one video of a run. If you want to have it verified, the most active community for Tomb Raider speedruns is on speedrun.com. I will link the general leaderboard and I will link the next generation leaderboard in the description. Um, there are different categories for all the different platforms. That means PC has its own category, Xbox 360 and PS3 have their own category, and PS4 and Xbox One have their category. This is why there are certain skips that are only available for each platform. That's so to say. Um, current world record is 1 hour 57, I think 54, somewhere in that region. It's far away from perfect. The perfect run would be around 1 hour 45 minutes. And I'm just trying to make this tutorial to get more people into this run, because it's, even though it can drive you mad, it's actually quite fun. If you overlook those little fuck ups they made during the part of this game. I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little bit sick today, so I try to apologize when I have to cough, or I have to drink something like right now. That's basically everything you need to know before the run. One thing we do before each run, we're loading an old save game. And it doesn't matter which save game it is, it doesn't matter how far. Actually, nothing about the save game matters. The only thing that matters is that it's a save game. We do this to preload certain things into the memory of the console. And that allows us to skip a cutscene around 2 seconds earlier, right in the beginning. So you just load the game and exit back to main menu. Jeez, that is so much fun. Before I start, skipping cutscenes. Okay, skipping cutscenes. On PS4, you skip a cutscene by pressing the touchpad, and on Xbox One, I don't have an Xbox One or the Xbox One version of this game, but I bet it's the select button. So, every time you want to skip a cutscene, you want to mash your button for skipping a cutscene. And I personally like to mash another button in alternating order with that. Like it's square. It's circle, because circle is scrambling, and scrambling and rolling is the fastest method of moving in this game for the most part. So basically, whatever I need to do after a cutscene, I use that button to alternate between this button and the cutscene skip. This is why, because at least on PS4 the touchpad isn't that responsive. So if I would try to mash the touchpad, I would actually lose a couple of frames between the game giving me the option of skipping a cutscene and actually skipping the cutscene. So, for example, if I use the button like circle to trigger the option to skip the cutscene, I then skip the cutscene on the next possible frame when I'm pressing the touchpad. It's a small thing, and you don't need to do it, but that's how I do it, so I just thought I'd mention it. Yeah, about the runs. You're gonna start a new game, and you can choose any save slot you want. We are running on normal. We don't run on easy, because easy has auto-aim, and auto-aim aims for the body mass, which makes it harder to get a headshot. I'm a bad aimer, so it doesn't really matter for me, but it's a decision the community made that we run in normal. There are also is a category for hard mode, but it's exactly the same, only with harder fights, so I'm not gonna go into it. Yeah, you want to select your difficulty, and as soon as you press continue, you want to start your timer. Actually not gonna put on a timer right now, because I'm using another recording device right now to get the quality a bit more up. Also, I'm having audio sync issues with my capture card in OBS, so no timer this time. Basically, you press X or A to choose the difficulty, and this is exactly the moment you want to start the run. So 1, 2, 3, go. As soon as the run starts, you want to mash your cutscene skip button and another button during this backstory shit cutscene, and you can skip it really, really quickly. This is actually the first difference between all the other versions and the next gen or the current gen version. I think I should decide which I want to say in the future. I think I'm gonna say current gen, because, well, they're out for quite a while now. Anyway, on current gen, this cutscene right here is not skippable, but on all other platforms it's skippable, so take this time to read your chat, whatever. You're gonna have around 50 seconds of nothing to do.
Put some pressure on him. We've got wounded people.
This would happen.
Come on, doctor. Help us out here.
No sign of Rotten Lara.
Jonah! I'm here!
So the first moment where you gain control over your character is shortly after you see Lara's face when she hangs upside down. You're in a body bag and your goal is to swing and hit other bags to set them on fire and shit. So as soon as you see her face, I like to start pressing the left analog stick to the left and then just alternate left, right, left, right. For the first body bag, you can make it in 1, 2, 3, 4, in 6 swings, and the other body bag is also doable in 6 swings. So here is where I'm gonna start pushing to the left, and then it's just timing. When you see that you can't go anymore in one direction, you're gonna switch it, and on the 4th swing you want to hit the body bag for the first time. And with the 6th one, you want to push it into the fire. Now here you stop pressing it, and then you start pressing it again around here to get this sort of swing motion. Try not to get into a circle too much, because it will prevent you from getting the fire, like I just did. Like this was normally, if I wouldn't be swinging in such a circle, I would have definitely gotten it on the 6th swing. It's a few seconds you missed there. So as soon as you fall down there, it's a QTE. It's only mashing square or X. So you can reload this checkpoint. And what this does is, when the game loads, there is a small, it's maybe, let's say it's 30 frames to 60 frames. It's not even a second, it's less than a second. Where the loading is finished, and the game actually takes your input, but it doesn't display the game. And in this small time frame, you have the option of entering input that makes the game ignore all the physics in the game. So it doesn't matter if you're swimming or that you're, I don't know, you can basically do anything. If you can jump, you can input a scramble, whatever. You can use this reload and this small space to input a jump here. And when you're jumping forward, you're over jumping a trigger, and what this trigger does is it makes Lara fall down or makes her stumble a bit. It saves around maybe 2 seconds, I don't know. But you also have the loading times, and it's really, really hard to get. Like, I can give it a shot right now, but there's a high chance I don't get it. And I didn't get it. So this stumble is what you can avoid with this. Of course, if you reload the checkpoint and you don't get the jump, then you wasted a little bit of time. So I personally don't do it in a run, but it's totally up to you. Another thing, I said earlier that the fastest movement for most of the game is scrambling and rolling, and you do both by hitting circle or B on Xbox One. But we can't do that right now, so to unlock the scrambling and the rolling, we're gonna grab this torch here. Right now we can only scramble. You scramble over to this, I don't know, barrier of debris, boxes, whatever, and then you're just gonna scramble through it. So right here you need to set this thing on fire, and the problem is the torch is not lit anymore because of the water. As soon as you stand here, you're gonna make one scramble, and you're gonna hold square or X on Xbox One. Then you're gonna turn your camera and jump and grab the sledge.
That was loud.
Get down there. So what I like to do is I like to look at that box with the wood in it, and when it sets on fire, I'm gonna count in my head 1, 2, 3, and on 3 I start doing scrambles. Why do I do scrambles? Well, scrambles have the added perk of giving you a small amount of invincibility frames. We're pretty close to the explosion that's gonna happen, so I try to avoid the knockback of the explosion by doing scrambles, and this would allow me, in theory, to climb up there much quicker. Not much quicker, but it's faster, and that's in the end that's what we're trying to do. You see if you get it when it's not black and white screen, but it's tough to get. And I got it this time. So now you just jump up there, and you're gonna roll into this trigger. The QTE is really, really easy. Thank you. As for the QTEs in this game, most of them are unfadable. That means, for example, if you know that you gotta press triangle or Y, you can just mash triangle or Y, and it will accept it the first frame it's possible to hit this trigger. However, there are 2 or 3 QTEs in this game that are failable, and it will cost you a lot of time if you mash there. So either you just don't try to mash through it and just try to be actually quick, or you learn all the QTEs that are unfailable. Or better yet, just learn the QTEs that are failable. So for what I did there, let me just go back there. Okay, I can't. You want to do a scramble, and then you want to jump into the water, because that makes her go through the water a little bit faster than normal. As soon as you're here, you want to light your torch, and this is the first part where RNG comes into play. You want to light the left, I don't know, cloth? The left cloth? Yeah. Then you want to light a box, and then you want to light the right cloth, whatever. So you're gonna scramble over here. Then you need a good box. The box should not be too far left, because then you need more than one box into the cage in the later part. This is optimal when one of those lobster cages pushes your crate. You see this? It's in the middle, and the middle is good. The only thing where it's bad is when it's on the far left. So you're gonna jump into the cage and lift it up, and then you gotta wait for one burning crate to fall in there. Jump over, one scramble, one lunge. And with lunge I mean triangle, because triangle is normally the lunge button. It's Y on Xbox One. To end this puzzle.
Gotta get out of here.
In general, the first 20-25 minutes of this game are almost complete standard, with just little strats here and there. Again, scrambling and rolling, fastest method of moving. Here it's scrambling and rolling, or scrambling and jumping. And I'm gonna fail this because I don't do this, but just to show you that it's there is the first method for us on current gen to go out of bounds, which is you jump over here, and then you see this ship over there. You want to jump as close to the ship as possible, and then jump into it. Let me just try to get it. If you do this out of bounds correctly, you can skip a QTE. The QTE doesn't take that much time, so I don't do it because it's very risky. You don't see where you're going, and you have to jump a little gap. So I don't do it because it's more likely to cost you time than to save you time, but it's there. And I got it this time. And I fell into the gap. So you see, you don't see anything, and it only saves a small amount of time. That's why I personally don't do it, but I just wanted to put it out there that it's there. If there's an interest in this, I can make a video specifically for this small out of bounds. But normally you would just continue this way, and then jump into the cutscene trigger, into the QTE trigger. Jumping in this part is actually faster than rolling and scrambling. So now you're gonna alternate between left trigger and right trigger, or L2 and R2, to climb this slope up, and some rocks are gonna fall on you. You dodge the first rock to the left, so keep holding left as soon as the, let's say, cutscene triggers. And you dodge the next rock to the right, so you're gonna hold right as soon as the cutscene triggers. And I like to finish the first segment as soon as I'm out of this cave, like when I enter this hole right now. And you should be there, perfectly you would be there at around 6 minutes 30 seconds. Everything under 7 minutes is really good. And 7 minutes to 8 minutes is good. And everything over 8 minutes, and you should probably train the intro more. But you're gonna be there, I'd say around 7:30 for the beginning. 7:30 is a good time for the intro to look forward to getting. And just for beauty purposes, I'm gonna stop this part when the Tomb Raider logo appears, because it's just a scenic view. Nice. Okay, so even though everything we just did was kind of basic, but if you have any questions, you can post them in the comment section and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. And in the next part, we're gonna get the first weapon, which is the bow. And I'm gonna talk about door clipping and how we do this in this game, the different methods. Anything else I missed? No, that sounds good. Yeah, so be sure to look forward to the next part. As always, thanks everyone for watching. I just want to say I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. And I hope I can get some more people into this speedrun, because it's getting kind of lonely on the leaderboards. And yeah, see you on the next part.